Okay, Evan, this is pretty good skiing. I'm watching you come up to a pretty, what I feel is an upright position. I'd like to see you have a more consistent forward lean, forward up the trail. The other thing I want you to pay attention to is when you push off that leg, you're kind of opening the hip and letting your hips get twisted. Make sure that you're pushing out to the side and that one boot is even with the other boot. So Paolo, this is pretty good skiing and pretty good motions. What I notice here is that your head is always looking, what looks like, down at your front wheels. I think that you can let your head come up a bit more, and that's going to let your hips come forward a bit more. Simon, this is pretty good skiing here, man. What I'm watching here that I think you can improve is that I think your back's going into a bit of extension when you're coming up. I'd like to see that back stay just slightly rounded. One way to think about it that might help you is to bring your hips forward to your shoulders and not bring your shoulders back to be over your hips. Okay.
Like level 2. High level 2.
Okay, Tyler, this is good V2 in here. I think that you're capable of getting a little bit more power from your upper body. Just like we talked about in your double pull, if you're able to swing your hips forward with your elbows and hands. And when you make the contact, keep those hips in that forward position while you're crunching down. Notice here that you kind of make contact and you're bent over a little ways when you make the contact. We want to make contact in basically a falling forward plank and then crunch onto the poles to make the power. Matai, the basic movements that you're doing are quite good here. I think that you're going to find more power by swinging your elbows a little further forward each time. When you come up, I want to see your hands and elbows go further forward. And then the other thing I think you can do is you can see your head's looking kind of straight ahead. If you round your neck a little bit, I think that you'll find quite a bit more power, because when you round your neck and your back, you can involve your core, and that's a really strong muscle in your body to produce power from. Okay, Noel, to me here it looks like you're moving in slow motion on the way back up. I'd like to see you pop up to the tall, high forward position about twice as fast as you are right here. When you pop up to the high position and get stacked up tall, that allows you to rest on the bone structure of your body. So you're just spending a little too much time with your hands low and maybe pushing them behind you. Okay, Joe Flo, two things I'd like for you to work on. One is at the top of the motion each time, I'd like to see you with balanced with high hips, forward elbows, forward hands, standing tall, and then all at once you should drive everything down to the ground. Another thing I'd like to see you work on is driving your elbows straight down into the pavement in front of you. So drive the tip of your elbows down, because it looks like you're just trying to push behind to me. I just want you to notice that your feet are a little too close together here. We'd like to see them wider. Kathleen, your V1 here, I think you better produce a lot more power with your legs. If you push yourself side to side instead of bringing your feet in and putting them down on the ground, actually jumping from side to side with wide feet, you'll be able to create a lot more power. You'll be able to see that in the slow motion clip coming up here. So here you can see yourself bringing your foot in and stepping down on it, rather than jumping off one foot and moving over to the other. As we move into V2 here, Kathleen, I want you to pay attention to your head now. You'll catch yourself pulling and looking ahead, directly ahead while you're pulling. I think that if you round your neck a little bit, you'll be able to use your strong core a little more to produce power. Nolan, one thing I think it'd be good for you to focus on in your V1 is keeping wider feet and wider knees and moving more from side to side.
Okay, the transition.
Okay, Nolan, as you make the transition here to V2, I think something that might help you is to think about popping up faster with high hands and elbows. And then once you attain that position of high hands and elbows, you could really create a lot of power by crushing down on those poles and utilizing your upper body some more. Senor Wiggy, in your V1, I think we will benefit from working on a lot more side-to-side motion, really stacking up on that right pole and then moving at a diagonal down and over to the left side. Right now it seems to me that you're stuck in the middle a little bit and missing out on some power.
Okay, into V2.
So Wyatt, one thing you can notice here is your right pole. You're switching the angle. You put it down, and then instead of driving it back, you see it come around and go out to your right side. We want that angle to be going down and pointing to the left just slightly the whole time, and then it retracts in the exact same direction. Okay, Wyatt, now as you switch to V2, I think your V2 really looks quite good. It appears to me like you're sinking just a tiny bit in your hips, and I think your hips can stay high and concentrate on keeping the hips high and pushing over to the other side a little bit more.